All right, we are live now in the Airtable community Facebook group. Welcome back, everybody, to week 25. Welcome to Off the Record Airtable Secrets and Lore. We're a group of Airtable users exploring new ways to use Airtable to optimize our businesses and lives. We're open to hearing from anyone about their experience, good or bad, using Airtable to make a positive impact in the world. We attempt to promote people coming from any level to share their ideas or ask questions, and we also share our experiences, tips, practices, and offer ways to get help and get involved in the community. We meet every Wednesday from 7 to 7:30 in Clubhouse, 7:30 to 8:30 in this live stream, www.videowithben.com, and that is Eastern time zone. So to kick things off, what we talked about recently was some of the updates in Airtable, some of the things we like, some of the things we don't like. And if I heard correctly, we might have some app demos of some of the apps that people like. So if anybody would like to share their screen, you can now or later. Does anybody have anything they want to kick us off with? I know we were just to the front end.
I want to see Rebecca's demo, but I was going to share with you guys this scraper I found because it looks pretty awesome. So they were advertising on Reddit. They're called Simple Scraper. I haven't not gotten in here and played with it yet, but they make it look like you can get really cool, deep data from a website and map it right into your Airtable without a lot of drama. Whereas like the Airtable web clipper looks like just it's basically whatever it sees on the screen plus a screenshot. But this looks like you can actually format it right into fields. Has anyone played with Simple Scraper? I don't know anything about them. I just found it.
I've never seen it before until now.
They're pretty cool. I don't know if you want to check it out. If someone wants to check it out. Last time I made a recommendation, I said, let's check out FinTable. That didn't work out well for me. So I don't know, check out that. We'll go. Someone can do a demo on one of their favorite apps, or at least someone can show me how they use Kuovonne's tool, because I'd love to see it.
Well, should we ask Kuovonne?
Well, I don't want to put her on the spot. Rebecca said she would do hers.
All right.
But Kuovonne, can we put you on the spot for you to demo your own tool?
Yeah, I'm actually not on my computer right now, so I can't actually demo anything. I'm on my phone and the tablet, so.
Well, Rebecca, it's up to you.
Okay, I'm just trying to hide the stuff I'll get in trouble for. Give me just a second.
Oh, Natasha Ho is here.
Yay!
Hold on, everyone. I'm going to do a demo. Does everyone like this?
All right, what's the story?
This was designed by Natasha Ho, who's on here. She's muted and removed, but Natasha is a designer, an Airtable, Apori, and a Miro guru who's been helping me with a project. And I bought this from her website. You can check out her website at natashaho.com. Natasha, Natasha, ho.com. And she's got lots of cool things. So I've got this out because I have to take a selfie with it and put on Insta. At least that's what the instructions tell me to do. So I'm tagging you on the video, Natasha.
Thank you for the mention, and your sticker's on the way also.
Yay! I actually showed someone from Finland the sticker today, and they got all excited. Like, can I order that? Like,
yeah.
Oh, she ships to Finland, but like, sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome to the show, Natasha.
Yeah, it's good to meet everyone.
Ben knows all about you, Natasha.
Now I can put a name to a Zoom user.
Right. For the record, the white men are the minority today.
As it should be.
Good thing we don't have Devin here.
He's a witch. He doesn't even identify as male. Rebecca, are you going to do a share?
Yeah, I think we're good here. So
tell us your use case.
So I basically work with a whole bunch of trucks, and a lot of times people will call and just say, hey, what's going on with truck 234? And I'm just expected to just present information immediately. And it's usually the same information that that person is looking for. And so scrolling through the little app store one day, I came across Kuovonne's app where it's called Quick View. She has a few in there. And it's extremely simple to use. You can see the UI is the same. And I love that in the apps in the marketplace, the kind of continuity. Basically what you can do is you can either select one or a range of your whatever. These are assets, I would guess. And see the information that you select about that thing. So whenever somebody calls and says, give me this thing about truck 3, maybe they need to know when it registers. I can just see it immediately here. Whereas I can show you this whole table, but this table has. Oops.
And did you pick the quick view fields?
So, yeah, so you can set the settings. If you get a license, which I believe they are, I don't remember what I paid for it. I'm not going to lie to you. She can talk about that stuff, but it is a licensing model where you get a license and you can put it in your base. I don't know the exact limitations. She'll have to step in on that, but yeah.
And can it point to a view instead of like having to manually pick?
Not that I'm aware of. Pretty sure it's just selections, but you could just go to the view you want and hit the little.
Are you going to get all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, was your question if you can use all of the currently visible fields in a particular view or view all records in a particular view or both?
So it's not tied to the view. You just pick which of the fields that you want to show for that particular installation of the app. So it doesn't even actually have to be a field that's shown in the current view. It can just be whatever fields that you want to see in that little summary. And when you're selecting the records, it doesn't have to be, you can select multiple records. It doesn't have to be consecutive records. Say you have, a record number 5 and you also want to compare it with record 8. You can select both of those and it'll show those too.
Nice.
And then it also works the same app for other tables. So if you go to multiple tables, it's still there and it still works for other tables too.
So I can be in 2 different tables and have quick view show a record from each?
No, that goes for whatever's the current active table.
I was like, can you imagine if you could like create multi-table views?
I can. In about a month, I will show you how.
Okay.
We've stopped doing the screen share, but just to vocalize a benefit of Kuovonne's app, when you're viewing stuff in Airtable, you either have to scroll pretty far horizontally or pretty far vertically. With Kuovonne's app, it kind of condenses a lot of the information down, which is nice.
Yeah, I wish Kuovonne's was an actual view. So think of like mini gallery view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the reasons why it's not that, well, one is we can't make an app be a view, full view yet, but also is it's read only. You can't actually edit it. Editing things, that's a whole nother layer of complicated. And this was actually, I think this was the second published app that I had. Mm-hmm. And so I was still keeping things fairly simple. One thing actually is my other app, I realized afterwards, it's the low-tech PDF app. You can, if you're only interested in seeing one record at a time, it actually has, you can use it in a very similar way. You can't show multiple records, but you can show one. Or you can really select which fields you want.
Dan's group had some type of single record viewer that's kind of hyper features now.
Amplify. Yes. Yeah. Amplify is kind of the, I don't know, the most advanced version of kind of custom UI record editor interfaces. Like Kuovonne is saying, editing a particular record is a whole different ballpark. Amplify allows you to kind of show things in multiple columns, have just the currently selected record, every record linked to it, off to the side as a table or as a list or one at a time, and then edit those records. It's
And again,
it's a
I
much more
love
complex
this.
app.
I love this, but I think, again, why would I use this? I mean, this is great if it were in a portal, but I can do all of those things in a record already. Am I missing something?
It depends on like, Rebecca, this is your use case, but if you want to see multiple fields from a particular record or a particular series of records without having to scroll a bunch, I mean, you see 12 different records at a time or 12 different fields at a time. Whereas
How is that different than a gallery view?
You would have to scroll depending on the size of your screen. It just
unhide and hide.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if it's not useful for you, it's not useful for you, but it's useful for Rebecca and probably a bunch of other people too.
No, I get what you're saying.
With 264 fields, which most of them are calculations and dates and things like that, that if somebody calls me, I don't need to see all of that stuff. Or they run something that only happens once a year or something like that. Whereas right here, somebody calls or it emails or anything, and I can literally send a screenshot of this right here with all of the information that they need.
It does look like a registration card for a car.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, because I think what I've done in the past when I need a view like this is I'll just do gallery views without pictures with just the few things I need. But I don't know, I find myself, like the view I use most often for almost anything is calendar view. I feel like I just see everything in my mind in calendar view. The problem is when I click on a calendar view, I want it to look like Kuovonne's, not like the form viewer that's in Airtable.
Yeah, I think that's what its strength is the form view for Airtable is, linear. You can really only look at 5 to 7 fields depending on how tall your screen is.
Yeah.
Versus like 15 easily.
And I've never been one of these people that use the audit trail that's in there. And like every now and then it opens up by default and it has all those like highlighted, looks like, staples blew up on my screen. I'm like, I don't want to see all these highlighted changes. Go away. But some people use that whole thing for like notations, like I guess so they don't create new records. And it's just like, oh my goodness. We need to write a whole book on ways that people abuse Airtable, like using memo fields as like giant audits or using those audit logs. It's just like Airtable BDSM. Like, dude, literally create a record and stop.
That's my least favorite thing that I see is when people try to use Airtable as like a communication tool and they're just like communicating with their team inside the comment section on random individual records.
Like I need another email to log into another tool, to log into a view on a specific record, to tell someone what something is. Literally, you have a phone. The first app on the phone was phone. Sorry.
I don't know. My least favorite thing is people bending over backwards not to use views. So insisting that, client A and client B need their own table if client A and client B only have like 12 records each. Just use a view. You don't need 1,000 different tables.
Can I show you guys a bug that's driving me crazy lately?
Sure.
I'm a big emoji user. What is up with the fact that you put emojis in descriptions, they're fine for a day, and then they just disappear?
Really?
Yeah. They'll be there for a day, then they just disappear.
I think I've noticed that with formulas. I've seen emojis like disappear from formulas. And if statements in particular, that's the one that I can think of.
And when can I get a base that links to the metadata of my base? So my view names, my view descriptions, when can I get a base that links to my base so that my user experience is consistent? I spend more time normalizing this for the days I don't remember what the hell I was thinking than I do working.
Well, I have an app that lists all of the fields in your base, and eventually there's going to be another version that will say these are the fields in the different views. I just haven't had time to work on it and work through all of the the ways that I want it to interact yet.
I would love that, because when I first started with Airtable years ago, I didn't have what I call template base. So I didn't have like a starting way with all the field names the way I like them. Now I have one, so I just copy it. But like, it is crazy how much I have to go back in and say, oh, I call it capital D default layout here, but over here I call it lowercase d default. In my eye, you know, I've got like Steve Austin, $5 million man eyes. Like, I find the one error on the whole screen that's between lowercase and uppercase, and I can't function for an hour.
It's funny you talked about that, because I've been working, and it's near to completion, what I call my base template, and it has nothing of any subject matter, but all the infrastructure, you know, created, time, date, you know, that sort of things. I would love to share base templates.
Yeah. I don't know who was showing the screen, but it looks like they were looking at some of my apps. Were you trying to find the field list app? Like, one thing the marketplace doesn't do is it doesn't let you click on, you know, a developer and to show all of the apps by that one person.
I remember when they first announced the marketplace, that was one of the first things I asked for was developer profiles. Because at the time, there were only like 6 developers who weren't Airtable in the marketplace, but I knew that I was going to make more than one and you were going to make more than one, and there'd be 12 different new developers who add one next month. So hopefully they make it so you can click on Kuovonne and see all of Kuovonne's apps.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have 5 published ones now.
This one, I haven't seen this one.
That's the most recent
relatively new.
Ooh, what's ready-made formulas?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's very useful.
It's ready-made. Say you've got, you know, this is the number one thing is you've got a number field and you want to include it in a report, but when you directly put in the field, it just has a horribly looking number there. There's no $sign, there's no decimals, there's no commas. You can go in and say, I want a new formula field and I'm going to formulate it like a US currency. And then it spits out the formula for you. And then you copy paste the formula into your formula field. And there's like a dozen different other formulas like that. So for example, say you've got a start date and a duration and you want to calculate an end date. And sometimes you want to do the workday fields and sometimes you just want, you know, regular days. And the way those formulas are actually set up is you have to sometimes, actually it's when you're calculating date time diff, they have the order of them are in different ones. And so it just takes care of some of that logic for you. So it's predefined formulas. All you do is you pick and choose your tables, your fields, and it builds the formula for you.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
Are you seeing a GIF of a formula right now?
No.
No. Hold on.
Is there a proper formula in there?
No, I do not have one of those yet. That's a little bit more difficult. There's already, Bill French read the field tweaker script.
We're seeing it now, Rebecca, by the way.
This is the formula I wrote to help format currency on 4 lines of line items.
Yeah, to clarify, if you have a formula that results in just a number, a single number, Airtable will allow you to visually format that output as a currency. If you have anything else, including like a space or other text inside the output of the formula, the number will just appear as a number with a unreliable number of decimals after the 0, if there's a decimal at all, and Kuovonne's app fixes that for you.
I've got one I'd love to know if it's in ready-made formulas. You know, when you tell it to concatenate a date field and it pulls in that UTC time and it looks like a bird just kind of kicked all over your field.
Yeah, so one of my ready-made formulas is it's format date time. You can choose, do you want just the date? Do you want the time? Do you want it European? And you can also select your time zone.
Yeah, because I always have to what Chuck was saying earlier, I've got my template base. My template base has probably most of the formulas in my template base are just fixing stuff, all of these things. So whether it's the due date or the create date or whatever, they fix it and make it just pretty. With all my favorite ways of seeing information.
I'm sure that there's lots of things that all of us are ticked off about and that we find ourselves creating again and again in bases. Like, I would like to be able to have a view where when I create a record, it doesn't show in that view for, say, 5 minutes, and then it shows for the next 5 hours, and then it goes away. And, you know, it'd be great. I think I'm going to publish mine because it really sucks, and maybe I'll get Chris upset enough to fix it.
You really should, because again, Airtable Universe is full of a lot of other people's like fantasies of how an app should work, but nobody's fantasies of how a base should look.
Yeah.
Somebody put something in Airtable Universe that looks like a star and not an asteroid that no one will ever use, that you think is going to make you, you know, famous because I'm going to scrape out the data and put my own. No one does that. It should be called Airtable Uncanny Valley. Put something useful in there.
What was the app? Was it like just records in the shape of a star? Like
No, I just think they should put like something in the universe that's useful, like
It's
a
being
template
metaphorical.
base. Yeah, like I just think Chucky, you want to show your template base, or you're not ready to show off yet?
I'm not ready, but I'll show it anyway.
Well, there you go.
No, I've started, but the thing is, Chris, I don't have a designer's eye. I'm a developer. So I just have 3 tables. If you look at each of them, they'll have, you know, the obligatory 4 fields of last modified, modified by, created time, created by. So I don't have to add those things. And then it has a recent changes interval, and it has the obligatory, hey, I've got a status here, I've got a notes field, I got a link field, and you know, I can link from one record to the next. And I'm just slowly saying to myself, oh, what did I forget here? You know, I'm adding shit where, well, now I had to add that, and I've had to add it in the last 3 bases. Why don't I just put it in here?
Yeah, that's what I love about my template. Well, I have a template base, a whole base, but I also have a template table. But like when they added the views, I had to add my template views now, and then so I could propagate them across. The other thing I want to say is I know Airtable thinks they're doing the world a favor by giving us this kind of new default table, but like I am so tired of getting I just give me nothing. Don't give me. I don't want this.
Yeah, I would agree.
Airtable, stop.
Give me a
You're literally giving me more work. Once you've seen me create 1 new table, 2 new tables, 3 new tables, if you ever want me to upgrade, stop giving me stuff I have to delete.
I would argue it should really never really be there, because for new users, you start off with a bunch of like template bases in your first workspace that show you what these fields are. So you don't need to see them.
Did you see you're sparking that was day or 2 days ago, someone was upset because they said I created my first table and there's all this stuff in it. And it's
we talked about that one last week. It was yeah. Well, I don't know if we talked about it here. We talked about it on Built on Air sometime last week. Yeah, I did see that on the forums. Someone was like, there's someone else's data in my workspace. It was the first time I'd seen anyone surprised or confused about it.
Like a Reese's peanut butter commercial? Like your peanut butter's in my chocolate? What am I missing?
Well, they were a brand new user, and when you start off, Airtable gives you a bunch of like template bases so you could see what.
Really?
Yeah. None of us have seen it because we've been here for 30,000 years, but for brand new people, it was the first time I had seen someone be like genuinely confused what they were looking at.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So when you if you've never signed up to Airtable and you get an account, you get like a mini version of Airtable Universe.
Your first workspace is full of, content pipeline, whatever, like their standard templates, just so that you see what a base looks like. And the idea is you kind of look around and then delete it.
Thank God underwear shops don't work that way.
I think those are a little bit less complicated, but sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I need to go back and be a new user. Speaking of new users, anyone gotten, last time we were here, one of the things I was so enthralled by was that, what's that program called, Kuovonne, that I got in on that apparently Devin didn't? Pro Starter Pack?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that still happening? Or are people still getting that?
You have to, they randomly offer it to new users. So it's not open to everyone. It's still whoever happens to be lucky enough to see that. But I've seen it for, I first found out about it because it was offered to a client. And it's a nice deal if you're going to have 5 or fewer users.
Yeah, I got 1, 2, 3. I'm just kidding. I only got 2. I signed up for it right away. It's such a good deal. They need to just make that thing legit to everybody.
Hopefully we'll see some new pricing updates from them soon.
What other Kuovonne apps do we have? Now that I already downloaded Ready, do you charge? Is Ready Made Formulas going to charge me at some point, or was that just a gift?
It will charge you. So it's ready-made formulas start off with the formula for a pre-filled form. So that's the one. It's also in ready-made formulas. It's a slightly different version. Everything else is you have to get a premium license for. But the way all of my apps work is you get the premium license. It's a one-time fee. You pay that, you get the license, and you can activate it in one base. And then you can use that app, all the features in it, in that base for the rest of the time you have that base.
Do you promise me you'll never do subscription?
I can't promise you that I'll never do subscription, but right now I'm not mentally in a subscription. Right now I'm this is how, what works for me mentally is I like things where you pay a flat fee, you get the app, and you can use it forever until, it becomes obsolete.
Got a
Because,
question
like,
for you.
I'm team subscription. I'll
Yeah,
hear
because,
Chris's
like,
complaints.
Yeah, so wait a minute. So like I'll tell you what's driving me crazy. So I know that subscriptions are a thing, but like so in my life cycle, I've gone from buying software that's a one-off, then doing subscriptions, to now the last year and a half, companies have been offering me lifetime licenses. And like I don't know what comes after that. Like that's what a license used to be, but like to get to lifetime now, you have to do a subscription. It's like what's next? Like the afterlife licensing pack? I mean, has anyone been offered a lifetime license yet on anything?
Nope.
I have,
a
but
life.
not anything like that's like existing like Airtable. Like
I
on
got a
new
life.
softwares.
I bought a lifetime license to Calm. Does anyone know what Calm is?
Is that a meditation app?
It's a meditation app.
Oh.
Yeah. And I bought a lifetime license to a weather app. And it's just like, okay, you took me from like one-offs to subscriptions, now lifetime. I'm just waiting for the post-life app.
I use a Windows-based sync tool that it has all the features that a Linux rsync has with a graphical interface. And I paid one time for it. It keeps on updating and ticking away merrily. I love the thing, but you're right. I can count the lifetime licenses that I'm currently using on the fingers of one hand.
Yeah, and what's weird about these lifetime licenses that they don't take into account like if the device you're using sunsets. Like, okay, so then you really do need an afterlife license.
Kuovonne, I had a question for you about your license model.
Yes.
When I go in to work on an Airtable base, the first thing I do is duplicate it, and then I delete the duplicate because Airtable will nicely keep that there in case I need to retrieve it for 7 days. And if I screw up the original, I have the duplicate. If I were to ever do that with your apps, would they realize that they were in a duplicate base and say, you cloned me, I'm not going to run?
So that's the way it works. As I said, it's a one-time thing, but it is tied to the specific base that you activate the license in. So it will not work in a duplicate.
Okay. And I can understand that. Otherwise, the license would be useless. People would put this into their template base and off you go. But that's a shame. There wouldn't be a way. I understand, and I don't see any way around it. But I just worry that I would have to go out and buy a new license if I ever blew away my base data so horribly that I had to go pull something from the trash can.
So
I've had to do that once. Has anyone had to actually go to the trash can?
Not for anything important, but that's kind of why I went with the model I went with, where you could use it in any number of bases that you have. So it doesn't matter if it's a duplicate, but you're charged a subscription fee. So it's not a one-time fee like Kavon's. There's pluses and
Right.
minuses to both. And
Yeah.
that's kind of
what I was charged, but I definitely don't think it was so much that I couldn't just buy it
no,
again.
they're very reasonably priced.
Yeah, I think my most expensive app right now, it's a flat $50 one-time thing. And,
Which one is that?
you know, it's, I think it's the low-tech PDF,
Oh,
the
that's
one
right.
where you can create the PDF file. So it takes two things is to get rid of my watermark and to add a few more features, you pay the subscription for, you pay the flat one-time 50 for my app. And then you also have to use the PDF shift service, and they are a subscription. You know, one thing is I feel like on like the PDF shift services, they're providing a service, and every time you use it to generate a PDF file, you're running things on their servers, and it costs them, you know, whatever small amount of electricity to keep their servers up and running. On my particular apps, at least the ones that I've done so far, it doesn't cost me more money each time you run it. And that's kind of why I'm not having a subscription service yet. But again, I'm trying to price them very reasonably, where, you know, if you are in that catastrophic, I have to go back and resurrect the base from the trash and ends up with a new, it's a duplicate base, then you just go and you just get another one.
If it's been that useful, you'll spend another $50.
Yeah.
I think it's really the problem that if you look at it, I'm not worried about subscription. I'm not worried about lifetime. I just look and see, are you delighting me with the price? When the iPhone first came out and we had 99-cent apps, people were delighted, and developers got rich on, you know, tens of hundreds of thousands of purchases at 99 cents that they never would have made for the old traditional software model. It's just that you look at this and you say, wait a minute, you're charging me $4.99 a month? Do you really think it's worth that?
Yeah, Chris, I saw that earlier too.
What is that?
I think I'm not the most qualified person in this group to answer.
I mean, I always look at the Airtable apps. I usually start there to make sure I'm not missing one. I was like, what is that one? It's just kind of hanging out there, and it's got like a test tube on it, so someone's doing something.
Am I sharing my screen?
Not yet.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I used a test tube, a beaker database, beaker icon in my template, but it's not me. I'm not sharing.
Oh, no,
Show
you
it
are.
again,
Sorry.
Chris.
It's just a weird new Airtable app. I don't know what its purpose is, but if you go to apps, apps by Airtable, it's a new one. It's at the bottom. That's what made me catch my eye. And if you open it was July 1st was the last time it was updated. It doesn't say when they put it in here, but it's test fixture generator. Test your Airtable app using real world base data. Should we do it? Maybe it opens a portal. Maybe it opens a portal into Howie's mind. It's like being Howie Lowe instead of being John Malkovich. It's like all of a sudden we're in like Howie's secret lair. You know, it's like it's not supposed to be published. Uh-oh, it's doing something. Oh. Wow.
What's going on here?
No,
Those are all my tables and views.
I have a guess as to what it's going to do. It's probably not accurate, but I feel like
I'm afraid to hit generate.
Well, click getting started. I mean,
okay, you're such a developer.
Yeah, if it's right there.
I would
read the instructions, Chris.
This is exactly what I thought it was for. So I think this is more for developers than anyone else. I don't think anyone here would care other than Kuovonne and I.
I would recommend not clicking generate.
Yeah. Essentially, the testing sort of thing. It allows you to just, if your base doesn't have really data that you want to test the apps or anything you're developing against, it, I guess, will create dummy data for you.
When you
Kinda
click
nice.
on getting started in the app itself, when you
That's-
show it on the right,
That's what we're
it
looking
does
at.
go forward and explain, and sounds pretty much like what you're saying.
Yeah,
So
you
this-
clicked
this
on
will
the
put-
button and that's what we were reading,
So this will put dummy data in all these fields?
if I'm understanding correctly.
That's kind of hot. So like, because that's a lot of people want to ship a base. The biggest problem, I know developing it's fun, but I always think dummy data is the hardest part.
All right, well, let me
Oh,
go to a base that I don't care about, and then I'll report to you guys about what I see.
Yeah, I have a workspace for misfit bases that I don't care about. I can't kill them yet because they don't deserve to die, but they can go to the workspace of misfit bases.
Yeah, I've
Chris's own
started-
purgatory workspace.
It's my purgatory, my Airtable purgatory. Speaking of, I actually have a map of purgatory. If you're ever confused about where you are in your ascension to heaven,
Faithful to Dante?
it's all here. Yes, and then of course, if you somehow get past that, I actually have the layers of hell.
Oh, you know what it is? It's not going to generate dummy data. It gives you basically, if you are familiar, it's not even JSON. It's just, it gives you the text that you would copy and paste into your JavaScript file for developing a custom app to use the testing function. So it's literally not useful to anyone unless you make custom apps yourselves.
So I haven't tried an app in Airtable, but what does it give you that you couldn't get from any of a number of JavaScript packages?
It will be inside of Airtable. That's the benefit. Because you could use Airtable's REST API and connect it to JavaScript and do whatever the heck you want.
Got you.
Or if you want something to appear within the app window of an Airtable app, you know, within an Airtable base itself, that's what you would develop a custom app for. Plus, it comes with a bunch of UI, so you can make it look like it was designed by Airtable. Rebecca made the comment that Kuovonne's app looks like it belongs in Airtable. That's why, because if you use the Airtable custom blocks API, there's a bunch of stuff in there specifically designed to make it look that way.
Cool, because that is the impedance mismatch is a real hassle for users. That's right.
I'm shooting off in a totally other direction here, but Kuovonne, what's your experience with Gumroad so far?
So it's funny is you're saying how test data is hard to come up with. If you actually look at my Gumroad store, I don't have any screen captures in my Gumroad store because it's hard coming up with good screen captures and all of that. But overall using it, I mean, I'm satisfied with the initial integration of how it works. I really like how they generate, the unique license keys. It seems like people have no problem getting the license key and copying and pasting it into the app. So
yeah, it was super easy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been working for me. I'm glad to hear it's working at the other end too.
I see two of the most recent apps in the above the fold. I know Dan from OpenSide talks about that. There's two QR code generators. Has anybody used QR codes with Airtable?
No,
but both of those are old, or at least one of
What
them
the
is old.
pricing looks like.
There was one June 15th, and then the other one was December 18th.
I got these from Amazon to actually start doing the barcodes for my assets over $200 in my house. Apply back to my base. I don't know if anyone's played with the barcode scanner yet.
I set a client up to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It works with your phone. You can the idea is I want anyone to be able to come to my house and turn over anything that looks cool and scan it and read about it from Airtable. Including me. I'll just have it tattooed. I'll be linked to my entity record.
Eventually, we will barcode all of our hard copy paperwork boxes and QR code all of our trucks.
Actually, yeah, I was just talking to a guy who watches the show, and he set up a party rental fleet, and his trucks have big QR codes the drivers just scan, and that QR code takes them to the linked record, and they say, I'm checking the truck out now. Like they don't have to do anything really in Airtable. So like it's kind of a cool system he built. And then when they bring the truck back, they check it back in, and they take a picture of, in the same place, there's like where they take a picture of the miles, and I think they're using some type of image recognition to escape it. It was one of those kind of, he was so excited to show me, and I hope he's not listening, but I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, oh my gosh, that would blow my mind if I was a driver. Okay, you want me to take a picture of the truck? Okay.
Is he a developer at OpenSide?
Nobody works with them, I think.
I know for us,
Not at OpenSide, at Gap.
Yeah, and he's worked with you. He showed me Gap has this whole massive like system they use to schedule their customers and everything now. Yeah.
I know for us on the trucks, a big problem is these guys don't keep their paperwork up to date, even though I send it out to them over and over and over. So they get pulled over and they have old paperwork, and that cop's looking to write a ticket. Only I have gotten a registration and license plate since that paperwork was printed. And so we're able to always get out of it. But hopefully the QR codes would enable us to just put all the paperwork right there, to where that driver can say, oh, well, check here. That cop can just scan that on his phone, or the driver can scan it and pull it up any paperwork that he needs.
Yeah. So I have a bet that the first week of September, we have major Airtable news. Just if anyone wants to kind of mark your calendar now. The first, if we record on a Wednesday, let me see what the first. We record on Wednesday, so nope, it'll be the 8th. So by 8th, we'll have major news. So if you guys want to write this down, big news.
Calling it in now.
You heard it here first. You heard nothing here first.
We'll make sure to let Devin make the calendar invites.
No.
Is that
I
just
still
gonna be a
can't get
running
over-
gag for forever?
Well, he blew up our calendars. He like literally broke Google, and then he burned through all of Ben's and automations.
Yeah.
Like I know there was Zoom bombing, but like Zapier bombing, I didn't know was a thing. Can you imagine bleeding someone dry with an Airtable automation run amok? I mean,
You
could
could
take
really
down companies.
debilitate somebody.
Yeah, because you can't, as far as I'm aware, you can't get any more. Like once you're out, you're out.
There are been some cases where there's been outstanding strange uses, and people have blown through their allotments and they've contacted customer support and been able to get some resets. But it's a very manual process, and you have to explain and have a sympathetic customer support person.
Yeah.
For that.
Sounds about
But
right.
come September, what I'm wondering if Kamille's going to get a sandwich.
I think, for context, Bill, French, and I was on the forums a lot, had a side bet about whether or not the scripting app would be permanently free or permanently pro only. And I think there was a floating third option for they would just continue to extend the deadline. I thought they officially said that in September it's pro only. I think that was the announcement.
How many times have they said that?
It's been extended twice, but I think they've decided on come September it's pro only, which is what I had guessed, but not in September. I guessed that the last extension. So I think we were both wrong. So we both owe each other half a sandwich, I think.
A half a sandwich. You should
Yes.
go big. When I bike with my wife, I bet you $1 million billion.
No, I don't make as much money as Bill. I can't. I can't honor that bet, but I can buy him a sandwich or half a sandwich.
A very
stand
fine
by that.
sandwich.
Yes, that was the stipulation.
I do stand by that comment today on the community post about getting all y'all in the room together.
Oh yeah, someone had suggested, I think it was Kuovonne, myself, and Bill, and probably Scott as well. Just be like the ambassadors, if you will. And Airtable just puts us in a hotel. That would be cool. You know, I'm not saying I'm a fan or anything.
You have socks.
Not today.
I would seriously go to an Airtable user convention.
Hey, Chris, you
Back
hear
in the
that?
day, the big companies did that all the time with Bling, like what you just showed, Kamille, and lectures and networking.
We had a virtual one last year.
Mhm.
Did you not come?
I did not know it existed. Where
It-
was I?
Yeah.
It was
If
not
you go
put
to-
on. It was not put
Oh,
on
sorry.
by Airtable. It was put on by Chris. The Airtable did eventually sponsor it, I believe, but it wasn't their
It
idea.
did. And there'll be another one this year again. We've already got I'm actually partnering with a big Notion influencer. So it'll be a Notion/Airtable conference. So probably a lot more people than we had last year, but tracks. And we've already got a sponsor, actually not even Airtable, to underwrite the cost of the new hosting platform for it. So we'll see.
Are you going to be offering Bling? You can order online, like, Airtable logos on thermoses.
No, the closest we came to Bling last year was Camille's socks. It was, I mean, she literally pulled her sock up during the conference, pulled her foot up like over her head like a cat, and showed off her socks. But if you want to check it out, just go to chrisdancy.com/Airtable. All the videos from the event are here. And then there are all the speakers. And
Look,
then
it's Kuovonne and I.
What's that URL?
chrisdancy.com/Airtable. You can rewatch all the videos. There was the agenda. We had 3 tracks: beginner's track, kind of a middle track, and an advanced track. And then these were the gifts. Vendors gave away a lot of cool stuff. It was nice. It was fun. It was like a lot of fun. Very stressful. We got Zoom bombed.
Yeah, when you do
So-
it again, let me know when you're doing a call for speakers again.
I will. We're getting our stuff again. It's because it's gonna be so big this year. I want to, be a little bit. And Dan said he wanted to be involved earlier in the process, so I'm going to do that a little bit earlier. I thought I'd show you guys. You guys know I've got this massive base that runs my life. So I've been building my my infrequently asked questions and linking to like important things. So the first 2 were what do you do if I can't speak or I'm hospitalized, and then what do you do with the business if I die? So I'm building this complex infrequently asked questions for my family and friends, should something ever happen to me, that links to the rest of my life so you can find the answers. What do you guys think of infrequently asked questions?
That's so genius. Why did I never think of that?
I love it.
Sounds very frequently useful.
Chuck, I mean, people don't talk about legacy planning enough. I thought the base is perfect for it.
You are the most connected man.
It just seems like a natural, because I was starting to do a frequently asked questions for my base, like how do you find this? Then I thought to myself, no, this needs to be simpler. If I can't speak, or I'm in the hospital, or I'm dead, or like simple things like how do you re-register the car? I mean, when my dad passed away, my mom didn't know how to do anything. So like I had to really start thinking of like, how would someone even know what to do? And I thought, well, I have all the information. I just need to like link it. I would love to let people test drive my life. Like that's my serious goal. It's like my base so front end that someone can log in and be me for a day.
Can I be your crash test dummy?
Right? My dream to have like what was that Jim Carrey movie where he was in a movie but he didn't know it?
The Truman
Show.
Show.
Yeah, I kind of want the Airtable Truman Show. Where you think it's your base, but it's probably mine.
It's a huge simulation. It's the next release in September.
I'm just kidding. I have to stop because Natasha's
Second
gonna
life
start
mode.
getting ideas. How much fun. That's all I have. I'm tired. Las Vegas was crazy. Guys, if you haven't traveled yet, stay home. People aren't ready. They're back out. They're back on planes. They're back in cabs, but they're not ready. I literally had to take my Honest lavender hand spray and every now and then pretend to miss my hand just to get people away from me. I just would pretend like I'm spraying my hand. Oh, sorry, sorry. Get away.
I had a colleague at the radio station whose daughter, niece, traveled internationally. And he said, if you think it's bad here, over there, it was just a total shit show.
Really? You mean because of people not being ready to travel, or what? Why?
Everything. People are not used to it. The COVID complexities are incredible. I'm planning to go to Croatia for a cycling trip from the 5th to the 12th of September, based on, hey, the EU said that they're going to open up in late summer. And I'm just on pins and needles because every EU country has different rules, different stuff, even though they say they're unified. And the digital passport, the COVID passport, is not available to US citizens. I'm really worried that I won't be able to make it.
Devin is like just now allowed to go outside his house.
That's because he's a witch and he can't be seen in daylight. Don't let him tell you it's about COVID. He's got chicken bones in his fridge. Oh, well, good luck, Chuck. I don't know. To me, the thing that was hard was, and I did kind of plan, because I went to Austin on a road trip 2 weeks ago, 3 days, just so I could see what a hotel was like, and like just being around people who like aren't scared. And Kuovonne goes to an office. Kuovonne's probably, Kamille. Sorry, Camille's been going to an office. I don't know how many other people. Yeah. And I thought I was ready, but man, I got to the airport and people were loose. So the other problem with traveling is a lot of the airport food establishments don't have enough people to staff them. So now I add hangry on top of I haven't been on a plane in 18 months, on top of I'm still scared, on top of, I mean, the layers of anxiety to go to an airport. I mean, you need combat pay. I was just, and the lady in the plane said, she handed out the water. She goes, oh, you can lower your mask to drink the water. I said, no, that's okay. She said, why? I said, I'm making up for all the other people who ignore most of what you say.
Well, I was in the airport a few weeks ago, and I was really surprised to see that they have these unattended kiosks where you go and you pick out what you want to buy, like a food or a snack or whatever, and then you scan it yourself and you swipe your credit card yourself, and there's like no one to see you or to check you. I guess it's all the honors.
Is there a little security cam? Can you see a little black dome above that area? That seems so trusting to me.
I mean, but what would they see?
Apple's been doing it.
See me walking in, grabbing something, scanning it, and putting in a poker card into the scanner and then walking away.
Yeah.
Apple's been doing the self-checkout for 5 years. Every Apple store will let you self-checkout. I don't know if anyone's ever done it. The hardest part about it is they won't let you do more than one item. So if you're going and buying one item, you can. But if you need two, you need to do one transaction, do the second transaction. Disney just started, because I was at Disney when they closed down for COVID. And Disney's way of doing it is you do the whole thing, like you're saying, very trusting. But then you have to show someone at the, kind of like you do at Costco. Like, my receipt. Yeah.
No, this at the airport was walk up, pick out however many items you want, go over to the little terminal, scan the item, swipe your credit card, walk away. No walls, no people.
There's so many insurances for product loss, though, that they probably make more money if you just steal it.
Yeah. Well, like at the Apple store, they can actually put, RFID and other stuff on other things. But here it's like, okay, you're buying a bag of chips. Really, if someone actually does go through and steals the bag of chips, is it really worth it? I mean, the chips are overpriced in a way. One person buying a bag of chips probably is enough to pay for like 5 bags of chips.
Once they get over the initial investment, the lack of a labor cost or any appreciable labor cost might offset the expected pilfering percentage.
I wonder if Airtable will ever let you enterprise checkout by yourself.
What would that mean?
Well, right now you have to contact one of their leprechauns if you're interested in enterprise.
Mhm.
But like, there's no way to they should let you just buy enterprise. But I've always thought it's kind of shifty or shady that I feel like they're making up the price depending on what you tell them every time you talk to them.
And confirm.
I think
Confirm.
I think it's a combination of that, and enterprise users are more or less beta users or alpha users as well. So to limit the people who get access to their betas, if that makes sense, that might be another reason why it's a more or less invite-only system.
Now, Kamille, I brought up something earlier. You've been going to an office for a long time now, haven't you? When did you start going back to the office?
Who knows? I've spent more of quarantine in the office than outside of the office.
Yeah, same here. I never got to leave.
And then what about shops? You're in downtown LA? You're in LA somewhere?
Yeah, I'm in LA.
So can you get, I mean, your restaurants are 50% now, or the governor just opened up everything?
California is basically back to normal.
Okay.
From my perspective, it's.
So is Central Texas.
Oh, Texas, Kebab will tell you no one's wearing masks here. HEB looks like a rodeo.
So what's the 405 look like during pandemic?
For about 6 months, it was nothing. It was crazy. It was like everyone moved to Texas.
Also can confirm.
Rebecca and her Texas commentary. Ben will find out soon. Ben is now in Texas.
So how many of us are in Texas? Like, what's our ratio?
We have a majority.
Wow. Half of us.
Natasha's in Canada.
I lived in Orange County last summer, and traffic was very good. There wasn't much traffic at all.
Orange County, California, or Orange County, Texas?
Oh, Orange County, California.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
the speed.
I lived in
limit,
Orange County and there was no summertime where there wasn't traffic.
the speed limit for roads out in Orange County is like 60 miles per hour. So there shouldn't be traffic over there. I'm thinking of Irvine. It's not the same in Tustin or Santa Ana.
I was in.
Has anyone run into any users who are using Airtable or Google's new Airtable arrival tables?
I saw an announcement. I thought that they're going through they're going to go to the next phase.
Yeah, they are.
I tested it out again and was not any more impressed than the first time.
It's one of those things. It's the same, I think, for a lot of Airtable's direct competitors, is that in a year from now, they'll be impressive. But each of them at the moment have one feature that Airtable doesn't, and then 30 that Airtable does and they don't. So in a year, they'll catch up more universally. But in the meantime, if there's one major setback you have with Airtable, it's worth looking at these other people and then sacrificing on a bunch of other things.
Because there's something to be said about like a Microsoft competitor and a Google competitor and then Airtable, and the fact that, you know, maybe within a year, it'll be so much easier to integrate with other types of structured data that right now, you know, it seems like this panacea of potential in Airtable world, but maybe we hadn't even started thinking about the panacea of potential once other enterprises and groups start using their own versions, and we can, I don't know, I think there's a there.
I'm skeptical of that, Chris, because you know, to me, this is a low-code solution with all the heavy lifting done by the user, crafted beautifully behind the scenes. And I could see all these low-code solutions looking a lot like Airtable, but just confusing the issue with little quirks. Like Kamille says, they do one thing really nice and they screw up elsewhere, and it's just going to be crazy. I hope you're right, but I'm guessing it won't be.
It would be interesting to see how these other competitors, I can't wait to start playing with the Google or the Microsoft one. So I would love to see how they do kind of, again, I talked about this in the show a million times, but validation constraints where I pick this, so now constrain the next field by this, instead of just showing me everything. Like, to me, the validation constraint thing is my biggest pet peeve that I every day struggle with.
Hmm.
And it's weird that they can make the validation constraint work within a form, a web form, but they can't make it work within the regular form.
I know why.
Why? Is
Because
it a tech thing?
yeah, well,
Oh.
it might not be the actual reason why they haven't done it, but the easy answer is within a form view, like a shared form view, that data doesn't exist yet. So it doesn't matter. You can-
Oh,
The-
that's actually makes a
That
lot of
is like-
sense.
I mean, that is my first guess upon hearing your pet peeve, and I agree. I wish you could have sort of inbuilt, data validation, where if you have two multi-select fields, if you
Yep.
select option A, then your available list in the second field is filtered based on that. That'd be a nightmare from a UI perspective, which is, I think, the second reason why they haven't set that up. But it's a thing
Nightmare to construct it.
to construct it, because let's say you have two multi-select fields and each one the first one has 5 options and the second one has 5 options per the first 5. So that means if you select option A in your field configuration settings for that second multi-select value, you would have to select the 5 that match option A. And then what happens if you add another option to the first field? Well, now you have to go back and edit the configuration for that second field. What happens if you delete an option? You're screwed. So I would like it to exist. It's certainly possible for them to do, but just me thinking out loud, how would you design that system? Sounds like it would suck, which is
Yeah,
why
I
it's
think,
not
Camille,
there.
you're right, that the fact that they don't have to go back and look at the data in a table that a user entered 5 weeks earlier. They only have one set of data in the form, and as you said, it's in flight. They also have progressive disclosure on their side, because people go through the form item by item usually, and there's nobody going to complain when they change a view to change the field order, and now those 5 by 5 fields aren't where they were before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think your comment is key. That's the one. That's the killer. That data goes through once, and they can see it all at once, and they don't have to go back and revisit anything.
Yeah, there are workarounds. I think W. Van Hall came up with one of the
legend.
original ones, where instead of using scene selection, you use linked records fields,
Yep.
and where you can, under very unique circumstances, like you have only one user doing it, you can have things where you can limit selections from one linked record field, and then you select your another one based on that, where it limits it.
Yes.
This is how we used to do it. So you would create a new field, and you would say, this is my field name, and you describe your field, which was nice. We don't actually have field descriptions, and the text. And then you say, what are you looking up against? So for this new field, look up against this table in this field, and autofill. So depending on what you find from this field. So the UI is not hard for it. I think there's something else going on here.
Yeah, I know it's like possible. I'm just thinking through how Airtable's configure field options view would look like. They would have to change significantly to accommodate that. And then for what fields would that be available?
Yeah, but what we used to do is we used to just look up to like all the tape. I don't know. It used to be so easy, and like in Access. I mean, come on, Access.
Oh yeah, it was easy in Access. But part of it is in Access is you were able to add custom code behind the scenes. And you were able to have, it was harder. It was easy to create a setup in a form for entering things that was hard to maintain and convoluted for someone new to the system who is trying to make changes. But yeah, there's a lot of things in Access that were actually pretty great when it comes to trying to create a custom user front end. I actually have to take off right now. This has been really fun hanging out with y'all. I don't know how long you'll be there, but I do have another meeting that I have to get to. So it's been great chatting with you, and I'll see y'all again sometime later.
Thanks for coming, Camille.
I'm following you now. You'll see my order soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
The unofficial Kuovonne and Kamille sales channel.
I try really hard not to mention stuff I've made.
Yes, but I really think we need to have like our shows brought to you by Kamille's app and Kuovonne's apps or something like that.
Okay.
And Kuovonne, let's do lunch.
You should try that sometime. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
No one lives in Los Angeles.
I almost did. My husband got a job offer to run a private school there, and long story short, we didn't take it. He just got a job offer to run a school in Hawaii, but Hawaii right now, it's the housing market is untenable.
Well, so is the market here.
We looked at Kamille. We looked for houses. We couldn't find a house under $1 million.
All right, I don't know where you're looking. It's not that
Where were you
bad,
looking?
but all right.
We were in LA. We were out. We had to go to Sherman Oaks before we could find 600,000.
What part of LA?
Not far from Santa Monica.
I reject this notion.
Oh, well, that's,
You can buy a house in LA for less than $1
Monica is
million.
You can't get a house for under $1 million anywhere near Santa Monica.
Not near Santa Monica, no.
Okay.
For the uninitiated, Santa Monica is a beach city.
Yeah, but even like 10 blocks away from Santa Monica, I couldn't get a house.
Well, yeah. Not
just
if you
drive a
want to
couple of
be
miles east, Chris, and
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Right, in the ocean? Oh, east. Oh, sorry.
east. Yeah.
But I love LA. I'm a huge Echo Park fan. That kind of area is my jam. Kamille, if you're ever just bored, there's one of my favorite stores in the whole world is in Echo Park. It's called the Time Traveler Mart. And it's literally a convenient. Have you been?
I've been near it. I haven't been inside.
It's literally a convenience store that sells stuff from different points in time. So you can get like 15 minutes of fame, dinosaur milk. And when you walk in, they ask you when you're from, not where you're from. All my time travel posters are from there. And it's the home of the Time Scouts. That's that poster. And that's where they have their meetings. So these are people that they teach to. I sound crazy. Oh, well, if you're ever in LA, go to the Time Travel Mart. It's a real store.
Cool.
You can look it up on the Googles.
We're off the rails already again.
Yeah, we're off the rails. Sorry, Ben.
I have to go shortly too, but this has been another educational experience. I thank you
Right.
guys.
That's good.
I
Thank you,
have-
Chuck.
I bookmarked 4 or 5 more things in my browser to go back and look through, and I've got to check some of this stuff out. Peace, love, guys.
So yeah, this seems like a good time to take us off the air. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Kuovonne, for showing up. Thank you, Kamille. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chuck. I'll see you all next week.